Welcome to the Mangrove Community, strengthening the community one branch at a time. For more information about the community or how to volunteer, please visit mangrovecommunity.org.
All right, we're back. Another episode of Mangrove Presents Reasonable Doubt.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we have our guest in the building, Mr. Michael Allen.
Mr. Michael.
Yes, he's
sir.
running for Congress, District 18.
That's right. U.S. District 18.
U.S. District 18.
That's right.
You know,
It's the big boys. For big boys play, Trey.
yeah, Sheila Jackson Lee, she's holding that seat right now. So I wanted to bring him in and see what he has to offer, what platform he stands on, you know, the things he plans to bring to the community. But first, we want to start off.
Yeah.
Let us know where you're from.
Well, I grew up just a little bit ways over here in Magnolia, Texas.
Okay.
We were talking about that with Trey. So Magnolia, Texas is a little bitty town. It's about 1,600 people. I was born in Japan, moved here when I was about 6 years old.
Okay.
In kind of like Magnolia area. So it was a culture shock, right? I grew up in Tokyo, Japan, and now I'm in Magnolia. Yeah, until I was 6,
Texas.
and now I'm in Magnolia, Texas. Only half. My father was white. He's from Louisiana. Passed this past year, but his background is all mixed. A lot of people from Louisiana are mixed, right? So I grew up in Japan. Moved here when I was 6. About what? Magnolia had 1,200 people, 1,100 people, something like that.
You're talking about just north of Houston.
Just north, yeah, it's blown up now.
Right.
It's grown significantly,
Okay.
but for a period of time, it was a very, very small town.
Right.
And then the Woodlands kind of took that over a little bit, or grew the population. So I grew up in this extremely small town, only half Asian kid. Just talking about that just a minute ago. So I always felt a little bit alone, in that process. And then, So that's just my childhood. Okay.
Childhood.
So then, finish high school, go to Sam Houston State University for about 4 years.
Okay.
In that time there, I went there for 4 years. That's what I always tell people. I definitely went to school for 4 years, okay? For all those that are trying to get their college education, 4 years does not count as a college degree. It just means that you went somewhere for 4 years.
Right.
Okay, so then after that, went into international missions work. Did that for about 2 years, working at a church. Was a pastor, worship pastor for a number of years. Then became executive pastor, ran a business consulting, and now I'm running for Congress.
So you
Did
went.
I catch it all?
Yeah. So international mission, where did that take you?
Ecuador.
Ecuador.
Always Ecuador. That's where I went for all of it. Yep. South America.
All right. So then, what made
Quite
you
the transition, yeah.
Yeah, what made you transition into politics?
Well, I've always been called to things.
Okay.
Always felt called to leadership. Always was called into whatever path I was down.
Right.
We've talked about that some.
Right.
So here I am in 2020. 2019 is when I got the call to do it, and so here I am doing it. So we'll see what God's got in store.
So 2019. So you're new to this. You're
I'm very new to this.
very new to it. All right.
Politics, that is.
All right. So this is your first time running
Leadership,
for an
all the
actual
same.
seat.
This is the first time running for any seat.
Oh wow.
That's correct.
And then you, of all districts, District 18.
Yeah.
What brought you to District 18?
Well, so I decided to break up the district into 5 parts, and I went to the north, and I drove it. So I drove the Intercontinental area, I drove the 1960 Superman Airline Veterans Memorial area, and then I drove down to 5th Ward, Kashmir Gardens, all the way down to Galena Park area, and checked that out. On the 3rd day, my heart got super heavy. I felt like God was showing me something that I thought was pretty remarkable. And before I even finished driving around the neighborhood, that was the thing that God was showing me. So it's funny that we were in this church now in Greenspoint area, and I just felt God's heaviness on my heart. Now, I did not know all the things, right, that were going on or not going on or lack of or whatever. But as I went through that process, I realized that God was showing me more to this district or to this part of the district than in the others. Now, why is that the case? I don't know.
Right.
You tell me. You're a resident.
So back up. Why not Magnolia? Why not the Woodlands? Why not
I don't know.
anywhere else? Why
I
here?
don't know.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you this, the more that I've gotten into this, I've realized how much my personality meshes with the stuff that's going on around here, and why I think it's important to have someone like me involved.
Right. So
And it's because of the lack of it, by the way. Sorry, Carl, you can tell me to shut up anytime.
No, you're good. We're here to hear you speak.
Okay.
So you mean the lack of, you say personality?
No, the lack of the understanding of the political process. So what I've seen is a result, I think, of political process. It's the result of it. You want innovation, you want change, you get people that don't know how to do it. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't know how to lead, because I've always been in leadership positions, but there's a big difference between understanding the game of politics and understanding the game of leadership, which is what I thought it was supposed to be about, but I found that politics seems to be more prevalent than actual leadership.
Yeah.
For real. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
I mean, especially in a district like this where you don't see it getting any better. You see it getting worse and worse.
Look, I just came to tell the truth of what I see. I don't have big money, and everybody says that. I mean, by the way, I've realized in this political whole thing that everybody says like the same stuff. So how do you differentiate yourself when everybody's saying the same things? Okay, but I don't have those things. Now, I'm not telling you those things to say as a bragging point to tell you, wow, I don't have big money. What I'm realizing is this: if you have big money, how are you going to make big change? Because that's where I think the ties come in. That's where you make the ties. And then whenever you get
in a district like this,
that's what I mean. So I've been a part of leadership, so I know how that works. But I haven't been a part of political leadership. And if you don't come into this clean, you come into this tethered. You come into this attached. If you come into this attached, it's just the way it goes. I don't know how else to say it. I mean,
it's like you can't go after your own
ideas,
or your own
ideas.
So this is one of those areas as well.
Yeah.
And you may want to explain this to the people to make it clear. As you say, you don't have big money. You don't come from big money.
Yeah.
This is one of those areas that if you don't have big money, this is the best place to get in.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to have a lot of money.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it's more of an influence thing. If
Yeah.
you can speak well and talk well, then hey, the people might rally behind you. But then after you give those speeches that make us feel warm and fuzzy inside, then we're left to figure out what now.
Yeah.
You know, you gave us this speech, and I feel good, but I don't see change.
Yeah. And I've seen that. Because I see the church circuit, and I see how the church circuit's kind of like, hey, here's some stuff we said. Are we going to make something happen or not? You know.
So how do you let them know how are you not that?
Well, I think there's a few things that have to be addressed. Number one is someone like myself coming into this district has to be untethered, has to be unattached. Certainly, I want to sell myself, but my question I think that I've been posing back to the people is, what is it that you want to see change, and do you believe that change can happen? And if you believe that change can happen, then what are those things that are happening that you believe are leading to that change? It's paramount that the people that are involved actually care about the change more than I do. More than I do.
Have you been running into those people since you've been making your rounds?
I think so, and I believe that you're one of those people. That's why we've connected.
Yeah.
At least that's what I believe.
And then what have you gathered thus far as what do you see that needs to change? And I've been doing this long enough now to where I know what to listen for.
Yeah.
And you hear the people say, well, I want to hear what the people say.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're going to put yourself in a leadership position, at some point you're going to have to take the lead and say, okay, guys, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So what do you see if you were elected into office? What would your first 90, 100 days look like?
Well, Carl, we already started. We started 3 weeks ago. We went to a radio show, and I spoke for the first 30 minutes. In the last 20 minutes, you spoke.
Right.
I didn't speak.
Right.
I wasn't up on stage. Yeah, there is a difference between saying it's about what people want to hear, but there's a whole other thing to say, I'm willing to stake my reputation on what someone else thinks and put them in that spot.
Right.
There's a big difference. Do you get what I'm saying, though? There is a difference. Because if you rely on the politician, even that in and of itself has inherent flaws. Like, these people, whoever gets elected is going to go do stuff, and they're going to go spend 75-80% of their time doing stuff. You know, I think you said earlier, they're going to get a steak dinner out of the whole thing. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
But are you going to See, and that's the problem. You know, they get the steak dinner and they want to wave the bone around, you know, once they're finished eating
I got
the
it.
meat of it.
Okay, and here's the difference.
What we want to do is somebody that's going to bring us to the table with us.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? And empower the people, not only for a voice, because, you know, we all...
That's not enough.
At some point, we can speak for ourselves. To be honest, what's going on in our district, it's a lack of economics, a lack of resources. So... the time for talk is over, man. The time for talk is over. This platform here is just to make people aware of what's going on, to let people know that there's people like you that's out here.
Yeah.
And the thing that I fear, and we never know this until a person actually gets into office, is you can talk a good game, but once you get in, are you going to stand behind those things that you said?
Well, and what I'm trying to say is I've already done some of that. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, Eduardo's probably watching this right now. As soon as the first thing I do is I ask him, what do you think needs to happen?
Right.
And I put him in the situations where he's stepping out. I've already done it with you once. Test me again.
So you're talking about the show? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. I mean...
Okay, but I don't have the position yet.
No, you don't. And see, that's another thing that I want to see from the people. I like to see from the people. If you're really about this, like, it's things that can be done before you have that seat. You know, we've had plenty of people with the back to school event. We had people. Hey, they were not in a position at all, but they had businesses. They lended themselves. 200 dental screenings. You know, they donated to the backpack drives and all that type of stuff. So
sorry to interrupt you. Mm-hmm. But there's a big difference between me doing a bunch of stuff and me bringing you to the table to do stuff. I'm sorry, there is an inherent, intrinsic, deep difference. Because the difference is, and you can test it, and you can test it along the way, is Mike doing all the talking and is Mike doing all the, you know, the stuff, or is he bringing people along with him and then is he immediately giving those people, that's what I'm saying, that's the difference. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that that's why I'm so different. I'm telling you that's the difference between the change that you want to, like you said, Carl, the time for talk is over. The time for talk is over. It's been over.
Right.
And everybody's come on here and said, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to go do this thing. And man, I'm so different. And you know, I used to eat, I don't know, whatever when I was a kid. Well, I used to eat a bunch of stuff too that y'all don't know about. That doesn't make me more approachable. The difference is, do I put you in the position to actually do something about it? You know, I told you earlier that I'm realizing myself as I go along this journey, why God has moved me into this role, or at least, you know, into the role of running. You get what I'm saying? Because what needs to happen for sustainable change, because let me tell you something, because we'll get into gentrification and all that in a minute. The steam-rolling capitalism train is coming down the pike, my friends. And if there's not a plan that is hardy enough and robust enough to counter that, then that free market train is going to run right over. It's going to go right past you, and you're going to say, where was my ticket? I didn't get a chance to be a part of that. Carl, you don't need the seat for me. No. You need the seat for you.
Exactly. So that's what you're saying. You're going to bring the people to the seat.
Well, who do I got to pay back?
Right. So
who I got to pay back?
You would continue doing what you're doing, is what you're saying. You get in the seat. You would continue to allow people from the community who've been doing the work in the community, know what the issues are, to come out and speak.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. What do I have to lose in the sense of I'm not getting a bunch of people because I'm not representing those interests. I mean, you can this stuff has to be filed with the federal government. It's not like you can find out for yourself. I don't know if it shows you like the donors themselves, but I mean, you're going to find out if I have company money, corporate money or not. Right. You find out. You can see it really clearly, and everybody knows you follow the money.
Exactly.
That's what you do. So if I get this myself, Mike Allen, what am I going to do with it, right? Because I didn't make a bunch of money doing it. Right. I didn't, that really wasn't the cause of it. And my background and my experience has always been, Mike, you only step out in front as much as it's required, and then you bring other people, and that's the real measure of whether something's sustainable. If I'm the one who is always saying this is what you need and this is what we need and this, in and of itself there is a lack of sustainability in that. Like sometimes it's the little stuff that people just forget that that's the important thing. It's because it's not sustainable for one person to come and think that they have answers to stuff. It's not sustainable. And District 18 is extremely diverse. it's you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, how do you
Wildly
overcome
diverse.
that language barrier as well? How do you overcome that?
You bring the people to the table. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, if you have 10 people and the African American population in District 18 is 30%, 37%, then there should probably be almost four people at the table that are of that descent, right? And if it's 42% Hispanic, then I guess, that's 4 or maybe 5 or whatever it is. Shouldn't it be that's the way it is? Look, that's what I'm trying to say, is you're just going to see it as we go along. You won't see it in one shot.
Right.
This is not an elevator pitch, because what I want to start to see over time is I feel like I'm called to do this. Not everybody's going to believe that at the very front.
Right.
They're not.
Right.
We're going to see it as we go through the process and the steps of what we come back, and we keep coming back, and we keep talking. And we keep talking about the things that matter until people in the district decide to pick up some of those things for themselves. That's the difference between, I think, and that's not even a differentiating factor for me. I'm saying that's the difference between real leadership. You'll know if I'm in real leadership, and you can vote me out in 2 years if I'm not. But like you said, the time for talk is over. And I'm saying that type of leadership, or that type of agreement, partnership, is the only thing that's going to work.
Right. So what about, and
So,
man, I got you in the hot seat tonight, Mike. I ain't even gonna lie.
what do you mean? I'm ready. So good.
Because I've like I said, I've been doing this now and I've seen it. And so what happens if Mike doesn't get the seat? Does Mike go back to his corner of the world and we never hear from Mike again? Or is it like Mike is still in the fight with us?
So do you want me to just tell you what I think? I mean, like, do you want me to give you some, oh yeah, I've always been in the fight, I've been in the fight, been in the fight 20 years.
Know, honest to God,
we'll see if God keeps me in the fight. I wasn't in it before now.
Right. I got you.
I mean, I didn't, okay.
And we appreciate your honesty. That's all we can do.
I got called into something that I didn't have before, and to see things that I've never seen before, and to meet people that I've never met before.
Because we definitely needed a fresh pair of eyes to the whole thing.
So what I'm saying is, like, if this is my question to y'all are community people. If it's been so great with all the people that you've known for the whole time, why don't you just have them back in again? They had the same roots. They ate your restaurants. They went to here. They've known you since you were kids.
That's a whole nother story.
But it's not, though.
I'm trying to figure out.
If y'all don't address it yourselves in the community, what makes you think somebody else is going to address it for you?
Right. And that's what this is for. To open people's eyes up to something new.
Yeah.
To let them know, like, there has been a person that's been here for the past 20 plus years and things have digressed.
Look,
they have been progress.
And look, that's another thing. You're going to hear me talk about some of these things openly and honestly, because what is the effect of that that's going to be detrimental? It's not like the Democratic Party is going to pull funding from me. In this whole process, I've already gone through enough trouble, losing the role that I was in before, all those type of things to come here.
So what you mean by losing the role?
I'll get to that in a little bit, but essentially, I'd like to build that up into a crescendo.
Gotcha.
That's okay.
So
I don't feel at the moment that's going to be helpful.
So you're dealing with the district, with a community it's under attack, spiritually.
Yeah, the whole
physically.
That's what I'm seeing.
It's under attack, and like you say, the people that's living in these communities, they are not even aware of it. Their eyes aren't open to it until they get that tax bill, and it's 2 times what it was last year.
Yeah.
Because when they saw the Starbucks coming in, or that nice coffee shop, or that 3-story house that got built on the corner, they're like, oh, they're improving the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But they're not realizing that they're not improving it for you. Because they don't have your best interests at heart.
Yeah.
And we talk about gentrification, greedification is what I've coined it lately.
There's a bunch of words. Any of them.
And as I do more research, I read the study from Rice and things like that. You have people that will disinvest in the community or make sure that nothing good goes into the community until the property gets to a certain level. There's a certain rent gap where they know they can come in and rebuild and completely make a huge profit off of it. So how do you feel about that, first off? Do you have any ideas on how to combat it?
Okay, so let me ask you now, because I'm going to go back to your previous question because I was going to go into that.
Gotcha.
So essentially, like, what is going to be the negative effect to me if I come into this into the seat, right? I'm not losing a bunch of money from, PACs and organizations and all this kind of stuff. When you just see something for what it is, you just kind of go, that's, when you're, like you said, a fresh pair of eyes, you come in and you just go, oh, that's that. Mm-hmm. That's that thing. I see that's a spade, right? Mm-hmm. Like if I'd never met you before, right? And there was a hole in the wall right here or whatever it was, and the first thing I'm going to go is, that's a hole in the wall. Versus, you know the story why there's a hole in the wall. Yeah, Trey one time threw a phone at me and I went through the wall. But but the point is that that you just go, that's a hole, guys, and you have to have somebody that's kind of like bold enough and a little bit out of the context enough to be able to go, that's a hole in the wall. Right. It's that sounded bad. I don't mean
no, I get it.
But there's an actual hole in the wall.
Babe Ruth may have hit a home run and the baseball went through. So
yeah,
we
whatever
just left
it
the hole
is.
there,
that's exactly. And there's plenty of like analogies and metaphors that talk about that. Right. So my question back to you is like, don't you see the hole in the wall? Like the hole in the wall has been somebody that, like, go back through all the videos. Like, I can sit here and talk about this you're going to have to cut this show off, because the truth of the matter is, I'm not telling you something you don't know for yourself.
Right.
This stuff happened before by people telling you that it wasn't going to happen. So what am I missing here? Because at any point in time, that could have changed, and it has not changed. And by the way, it's still an elected position. Mm-hmm. It's not like she just gets in or people get in by happenstance. So my question is, why? Why do the people that seem to be able to, like, why don't they just say that's a thing that we need to address, and why don't we do it? And the reason I was saying all that is because I think sometimes people are scared to say those things for whatever those reasons are, whatever those alliances are, and nothing I'm going to say is going to change anything that what you think about that, because even up until now, when y'all see a hole in the wall, you haven't said there's a hole in the wall. And maybe you have
the people that have, but the alliance, the pack is so strong that sometimes it's hard to be broken, because you have people that are in those leadership roles, those leadership positions,
yes,
and they will, tell you they're taking you under their wing, but at the same time they're silencing you.
Okay.
And
so
it's a whole nother election year has passed before you even realize it.
Yeah.
And they did things. They do major things for the community and things like that, but you don't realize that, okay, this event or this whatever cost this amount of money, but on the back end, they made tenfold.
Okay, so let me ask you. So I'm going to turn right back on y'all, because y'all live right around here. Mm-hmm. For 25 years, you kept electing some of the same officials, and I'm not talking about the same one. I'm talking about there's been more than one that you've elected right back into office over and over. I hear all the time, nothing's changed. Man, this should have changed. Nothing changed. Oh, you know how they don't change things. And
then you don't have the people that step up.
So why do you keep electing the same people back into office? And what would somebody have to say to get you to change your mind? Because they've already been telling you the thing that you wanted to hear.
This year, maybe.
So I didn't mean to put you in the hot seat.
The last few elections may have been the first few years that these people have actually been challenged.
Yeah.
There's been no other person to vote for, first off.
Yeah.
People have been so caught up in, and this is what you have to understand as well.
Yeah, tell me.
To be honest with you, these communities have been put in a position where they don't have time to worry about politics. They don't realize how much it affects their lives, but at the same time, they're trying to figure out how they're going to put food in their stomach, their child's stomach, to the point, I don't have time.
Yeah.
I can't take off. And then these things are done strategically. A lot of these meetings are held during the daytime. The candidate is hosting his event or meeting during the daytime, or right at the peak traffic hour, where you had to take off a few hours early to get there. And these are things I noticed, man. And I'm sick of it myself, because they are strategically placed. You have important meetings that are placed at the same time, to where you have to decide one over the other. It's a lot of things that go into play that first the people are not aware of, and the ones who are, how can I tell this person what time to set their meeting and this person? Yeah. Which is done strategically to divide the district. And then District B in itself, gerrymandering was a real thing and still is. Have you looked at District B?
Yeah. No, B, no.
Yeah, take a look at the District B map. Even District 18, the way that it expands across from the southeast side of town all the way up to the northwest side of town. So,
But
it's a larger district. I understand it's a U.S. district,
Yeah.
so it's a larger area. But it's still the way that it cuts through, and it strategically cuts through all of these low-income areas is not by default.
I agree, but we have voices, and we live in a city, and we live in a country where we can still make that voice known. So my question to you, voters, everyone, because I suspect that I'm not going to, winning the primaries is not going to force everyone to immediately go, yeah, I like Mike, I buy into Mike, right? That's not immediately going to do it.
Right.
So let's do it sustainably. My question is, what do people have to hear and see to believe, not just in me, but in themselves, and then in turn believe in me? Because that's the thing. If I tell you something, you're going to believe in me. And any slip or flaw, you're going to lose that faith or that trust. You have to believe in you because your voice was heard. So far, when we've talked, I've been, for the most part, even though I talk a lot, I've been listening to you. Like, not in a, hey, I'm here to hear you, like talk on the phone. I've called you, I've texted you. I want to know what you thought about this. We prayed together a few things. Like, that's the only mechanism that you really have to be able to come up with something. Because what I'm saying is, like, the very best and brightest, Harvard law, Yale law, the very best and brightest has left you in one of the poorest districts in the country. The best minds have already done that. The best minds. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. The very best minds of this country and of this nation and our school system has left y'all in a place where there is lack of tons of things, resources, education, training, communication, hope, vision. Somebody said to me the other day, I don't want to say his name, but we were driving down Tidwell, and he goes, man, this is the hood. It's gray here. I go, what do you mean it's gray? It's gray. I said, you mean like devoid of like color? He's like, no, just nobody, there's no life. There's no life in what's going on. That's not what I said. That's what somebody in the community said.
And that's what it is.
I don't think that way about things that I don't live in, but for somebody that lives in it to say that, that makes you kind of go, well, maybe I don't understand everything about what's going on. And by the way, District 18 is like so large that no one person can say, I understand everybody. Hispanic, Black, Asian, white, those are four different, and then if you break down the ethnicities within Hispanic cultures, you're talking about another 20, 25.
Right.
And then, so, I mean...
Well, you're talking to a person who's been blessed to actually be invited into homes of each and every one of these type of ethnicities.
Yeah.
So I have a better understanding. I don't have the no end all be all, but I have an understanding that we're all facing the same issues. But then you have the outside forces that try to pit us against each other first off. And that's something we have to do. We have to come together and realize that, look, it's no longer a black and white thing, Hispanic, this, that is, we are all put in this situation in these communities together. So we're going to have to come up, find a common ground, common issue, and we're going to have to address those issues one issue at a time.
Okay.
But we're going to need representatives.
We are, and I will do that. But I want to go back to something that my background, in terms of a method that works, the church. Christianity spread in an age and at a time where it was never supposed to spread, okay? You had Roman law and rule, you had Judaism that was real strong, and they put Jesus up on a cross, and on, okay? On and on it goes. You know how it started? You know how it took off? House churches, okay? House churches like what? Like how, okay? You had a group of believers that were all despondent, and they were all spread out, and they didn't know where to go and what to do, and they had now anything going on. This is what I believe, and this is my personal belief. Anything that goes on in District 18 in terms of a next step or whatever it is in my opinion going to be a step below the highest laws of love and all that kind of stuff. The gospel. That's my belief. What happens underneath that will change. Those programs will change. What has to happen this year has to happen next year. They should change. Like, by the way, if you want to, think about a message that doesn't work, if the same message you're hearing now is the same one you heard 4 years ago and 6 years ago, then no one did anything, just FYI. Okay, so the message should change, but here's what won't change, the method. The method won't change. Because the method is similar to that of the church. And what I mean by that is small bands of people that believe in what they're doing and can overcome and overrule anything that goes on. So, okay, let me give you another reason why you can test me. Invite me to your house, invite me to your club or group. And how you're going to know that I'm engaged is listening, but also like back and forth, like a little bit of like push and pull. If I tell you what you want to hear all the time, like even in this thing now, if this conversation goes well, Carl, I'm not from your neighborhood, you're not from mine.
Right.
You're not my ethnicity, I'm not yours. So if we don't have a little bit of push and pull and a little bit of tension in this, in my opinion, this ain't a good conversation.
And see, my fear is when you bring up Christianity, is that my interpretation and my research, how it was spread, and don't get me wrong, I'm a believer in Christ all day, every day, but the Romans, they used it.
Well, there you go.
They used it to instill fear.
Absolutely.
And to control and take over the world.
Absolutely.
I spoke about this before. You had Pope Nikolai V, who passed the Papist Bull that said if you go into a nation and they're not Christian, you have every right to take their land, their people, and put them into perpetual servitude.
But we're woke enough to realize that's not the same thing as Christianity. That's somebody who used a Christian message.
No, people are not woke because you still have these mega churches that,
for sure,
that have people giving money. Look, man, in high school, I had a friend of mine, his mom, if she didn't pay the rent before she went to church, she was going to give the entire rent money to the church, and she lost her home. And even when she lost her home, she wanted to donate her refrigerator to the same church. Yeah. And they told her, if you can get it here, we'll take it. So no, the same thing is going on, man. Yeah. And I'm not saying all churches, we have some good leadership out there, but man, the majority of them nowadays they're straight after the money. Man. So
look, wolves are always in sheep clothing, and it doesn't matter what thing that is. What I'm saying is look at the method. Because if you look at the method of what you just said, that's not the belief system I know. That might be a belief system that people subscribe to, but it doesn't mean that that's what it is. But the same thing can be said in politics. The same thing can be said in politics. I mean, you've had Democratic leaders in these positions for a long, long time, and Democratic beliefs should not be reflected in the same way that you're seeing in these communities now.
We definitely need to change. I mean, the leadership that's there now is not for the people in the community, because if you have Coca-Cola that's going up in Greens Point now, you have Amazon that already is going up, and you didn't work out the proper deals to where there was something given to the community. In Atlanta, that Coca-Cola part that's in Atlanta, I'm pretty sure the city officials worked out their deal to make sure the community got something out of it that they can benefit from. But those type of deals were not worked out, not for the public. And no telling what got worked out in the back room, who pockets got lined.
And you're a community leader. Did somebody come to you and say, hey, we're thinking about putting in, and that's the other thing is I've been going to community organizers and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, but you knew about this thing coming down, and we weren't invited to that.
So you find out about these things last minute. I showed up to the press conference in some basketball shorts and a t-shirt. So I did have the opportunity to go to the Coca-Cola plant, but I wasn't in proper dress. I didn't have on jeans. You can't go into a plant with shorts on. And I stumbled up on it by circumstance. So no, we're not being told about it. There was a meeting with the city of Houston to talk about Hurricane Harvey funding. And the people that I'm connected to in the city, when I find out about it, I call them first thing, like, why didn't you tell me about this meeting? I found out about it the day of when I was in the meeting. So it's being done strategically, man. And that's why we have to get people on the inside, people who really, really care about the community. And like you...
But no one's going to care about it more than you.
And I was just about to touch on that, because now you're interviewing me. I was just about to tell the people, unless we care about who we put into office, then it's going to continue to happen, man. And with the people that is there, that have been there, and look, we're saying the same thing over and over.
Yes, sir. In modern day politics, and I'll come back as many times as you want me to, because that's the only way you're going to be able to, say yes or whatever, this process, affords itself. But you have to just see who I am. You have to understand who I am, and does that bring out the best in you, or does it not? Because anybody can get in here in a 15-second snapshot, say, hey, here's what I think about, here's why I'm running for this. It's like a commercial. So we're basically buying politicians based on how good their elevator pitch is. And I think the only way you're going to know is how many times you have me back on the show, and how many times we argue about issues that really matter, and do I really listen to you or do I not?
But I can tell you this, because you do keep asking me the question, what can I do? What can I do to help? man, you're gonna have to do something. I
Yeah.
can say that, and there's gonna have to be more than showing up on shows and talking. You're gonna have to actually do something, because what it is the people that are in place right now, they are throwing them a bone every now and again. And they're happy with this bone. But if you can,
that's the next thing, though.
Actually do something to show these people that you're not all talk first off, because they're gonna want something. That's just the way of this world right now. But if you can
a lot of talk, though.
use it to bring them in,
Yeah.
and really show them what you're about, that's how you keep them in. But
So I'm gonna disagree with you on that point, because I think this is where it helps to have that outside eye. Okay, like you said, they've always been given a bone. They've always been, well, okay, no one's ever going to know what that next person's going to do until they do it, right? And by the way, there's been tons of people that do stuff, right? But it's not sustainable. In my opinion, you voting out the person that's been in these offices for long periods of time, that's your first step. Who you choose is your next choice. Who you choose is your next choice. After 25 years, you kind of go, well, shoot, I mean, I don't think I've done many things for 25 years. Actually, I played basketball for 25 years, almost 25 years, and I got a pretty good jump shot after 25 years of basketball. Okay, that's 25 years in the making. But I know what I'm not good at, what I am good at. And after 25 years, you think you know what's not working and what is working. So that's why I keep coming back to say that I think one of the main reasons why I got called into this area is you have to decide for yourself what you want to keep seeing, and what does that change look like? Who embodies that? Who's the person that you feel like will represent that? Because no offense to my competitors or anything, but like no one's message is as strong as Sheila Jackson Lee's. Dude, she's good at what she does, okay? She knows how to say it, she knows how to stand, she knows the colors to wear, she knows all the stuff, which ones to show up at. She's got people telling her, go to this thing, go to that thing, and she's there, and she delivers every single time. So no one's gonna be able to sell themselves, I don't think, well enough to compete. I don't see it. Let me just say I don't see it. And I don't see a far-reaching, I mean, you know, I pay attention to stuff. I've been leaders in organizations where I've had to be the face and all this kind of stuff. She's good at what she does. So my question is, do you want to go another 3 years, because of after the election cycle, because we're still in June here, I'm sorry, still in January here, or February now. Do you want to go another 3 years with the same, and what do you think you are looking for? So I'm going to talk to my boy Eddie, okay? So Eddie's been interviewing me for like a month now. Eddie, if you're watching, you know, this just straight up, this is what's been going on. He's been testing me. And the number of times I come back, he goes, okay, maybe I trust you. Maybe I'll let you in on the process, okay? So you got to figure out, what is it that you believe is that person that you want? What does that person look like? And what are the interviewing tests that you're looking for? Because I'm telling you, you've had the best interviewer, and the best interviewer, I'm just looking around, I don't see what should have happened after 25 years.
All right. And again, the issue that I keep going back to, when you talk about this, people act like you're speaking a foreign language.
What?
Is money. Because that's what these representatives are taking out of our community. They're taking the money out of our community.
You saying, who's acting like they're speaking a foreign language?
I'm just saying, when I start talking money.
Yeah.
When people say, how can you help? And I say money.
Oh, yeah.
Money. Money. Because these people are taking the money out of our communities.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's I can't get a community center built here.
Yeah.
I don't have the money to put the resources in to give vocational training to get these guys off the street. I talk to these guys every day.
Yeah.
They wish it was something they can do better.
Yeah.
But where are they going to get the money from to do better, to learn better, to know better?
Yeah.
They don't have it. They hustling to try to stay in hotel rooms every day.
Yeah, right.
That are overpriced.
Right.
$75 a night.
Right.
So I'm hustling to make $75 so me and my family have a place to sleep.
Yeah.
They don't have the money to get into the schools.
Yeah.
It comes back to funding and resources, because that's what our communities are being raped of. And then once it's raped, then you have these people that come in and say, okay, the property is low enough, let's buy it up and let's raise the prices to where these people really can't afford it. And now they don't know where the hell they're going to live.
Right.
That's the problem in our community.
But haven't you had people tell you that they're going to get you money?
No, nobody ever tells us that. No.
She just said, no,
we're going to have this program.
That's what I'm saying.
We're going to give away some backpacks.
Oh, it's always been just
We're going to have this holiday event.
Yeah.
And everybody, oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's get the money. Let's go get the money.
I'm tired of it, man. That's what the problem is.
Yeah.
Because these people, check out all these people. Look at their bank accounts.
That's my point, though. Like, that's my point. So, like, what is it going to take enough to be? Because I mean, they keep putting the same people in. Now, I agree with you that no one's challenged. But how many times are you going to elect the same people back into office?
Now, see that,
and what does the person look like that has to bring change?
I'm only one person. I fill this seat every week.
Okay.
To try to introduce people to new ideals, new people.
Yeah. Okay, so let me go another step. Let me go another route on this. Because I'm trying to convince you, like, to make change for your own. Like, I know you want it, but there's a big difference between wanting it and seeing it happen. There's a big difference.
It's happening one step at a time, but hey, if we can get more people on board, we can start steamrolling this thing.
We're going to be 70 before that happens. Okay, so my question is, again, going back to the money thing. Okay, well, who's going to bring the money and how's the money going to come in? Now, hold on. How many people have already said that? Like, when have you ever seen the change of the money being shifted hands? Like, this area has been kind of, rough for a while. You don't. 25 years.
You don't see
or longer.
Look, I'm telling you, we can get.
Do you get what I'm trying to say, though? The change has to come not just from part of the way that I am is kind of provoking you or poking you enough to go, hey, you need to be the one that says, like, gets involved in this stuff and figures this out. You are a smart guy. I've had the pleasure of spending some time with you, and I will support. I will be right beside you, in front of you, whatever it is, because someone like you cares, and I've met other people that care a whole lot, and I've tried to keep myself connected to those people that care a whole lot. But we're all in this together to try to figure out, like, how does change actually happen? How does innovation happen? Because everything we're doing right now, or everything that everyone's been doing before me, I don't think it's been leading to the right things. And it takes someone like yourself to be just as engaged, to be to have that, they talk about in the church, sometimes they call it a holy frustration that's big enough that overcomes and says, my voice has to get spoken of in this way. Has anybody, have you gotten as riled up as if you have in this moment with other speakers?
I haven't.
Hell yeah.
Definitely.
Because
haven't.
like that's what it takes.
Right.
I know that for me, like if I want to, I was doing some exercising this morning, and if I just sit there and go, well, I'm going to run up this hill, it doesn't really. But as soon as I got to do this, I got to push, I got to strive. Right. You got to see it. And people like yourself have to lead that way. And I think, my personal opinion is, you get too many people on TV that smile nice for the cameras. And I'm not talking about the politicians. I'm talking about everybody behind the politician that wants to get in on that photo op. If this thing is, okay, this is what I love about a district like District 18. Now, this is where I come from. This is my background.
Right.
I've had issues in my life. I've had depression in my life. I've dealt with obsessive compulsive in my life. So I've had to deal with things where I had less than what other people had to them to be able to do. I told you that I grew up the only Japanese kid in pretty much an all-white town. That doesn't mean that I was, that I felt necessarily racism or systemic racism, but I felt alone a lot of times because I was the only one. Right. So I felt like I didn't have that understanding. So I've been dealt these situations where I've had less than. And what I know is that when you have less than, the opportunities change. Sometimes you can be so far behind, like 25 years back, you can be so far behind that becomes an actual strength. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So you can be so far behind that's what I'm trying to tell you. Who I am is, I think, connected to the district in the sense of, okay, I don't have a lot of money. And a lot of times people would see that as a negative, right? Trust me, we're talking about it in our campaign. We're like, gosh, we need more money. So if you got more money, send it our way. But my point is, like, you can sit there and go, we don't have the money. And then you realize, yeah, but maybe that's a strength, that's not a weakness. Because God always, and by the way, you will always know them by their fruits, not by what they say, okay? You get what I'm saying? You'll know them by their fruits, not by just their words, all this kind of stuff. What are they producing out of their heart? What are the words they're saying is encouraging me to do so? And what I'm saying is, like, sometimes you look at what you got and you go, we don't have enough. And that is the perfect opportunity for you to realize, then therefore we have to be like this. And what I'm saying is, like a district like District 18, because by the way, look, these are facts, man. The areas in like well below the poverty line, it's been that way for a long time. Some people would honestly, like, if your rules, if everybody's playing by the same rules, you'd look at a community like this and say, well, hope gentrification happens soon, because it's going to be until you don't have enough. Now, I know what in the black community you have a lot of that. We've not We've not had a whole lot, so we've made best with what we've got. And sometimes if you activate that, that's your strength. Because you don't have, and by the way, there's plenty of people that do, so I'm overgeneralizing, so I apologize. But because there's not a whole lot of resources, you also don't have a whole lot of people that you gotta, that you're tied to or that you're enslaved to.
You have organic growth, and
you can do it however the heck you want, man. Because in that district, you have the minorities are the majority. I mean, hello.
Right.
You can have it however you can have it your way. But you got to get enough people that believe in that. You got to have enough people to believe in that. And if I do anything, I can just provoke that and bring that out of people. That's what I like.
So Mike Allen, y'all, he said he comes from a place of truth. He needs you to look in the mirror, honestly, realize your power, what you can do. If things have not been going the way you like it to go, then you have to be that change. And it starts with rooting out the representation that's been there and bring in brand new representation, people who ideals line up with yours, or like Mike Allen say, invoke something in you to do something to make a change.
Can I piggyback? Do you have to get off? You have to close it? Okay. So here's another thing, here's another point to that. This is why I say I encourage people to have me out, because everybody wants, again, I'm realizing that politicians, they all do the same stuff. I'm realizing it as we go along this whole process. They say the same things, and I thought I said something that was unique, and then it's like, okay, it ain't that unique. But this is my point, that it's not just having me come to your thing, it's let's have some conflict. Let's have productive conflict, healthy conflict, because that's the kind of person I am. I'll talk to you. If this podcast goes till 10 o'clock, we'll sit here and talk till 10 o'clock. I'm someone that someone's like, okay, Mike, that's enough talking, okay? Like, that's enough.
I'm going to cut it off when it's time. I got to respect my guy over here,
but
man.
What I'm saying is this.
To get home too.
I will know whether you're serious if you invite me to have a conversation and we have that conversation like Carl has. Because that's the only way that you can get somewhere.
And then you keep
I can't come in for 20 minutes, take a picture, and walk out.
I want to put something else on the table. A guy like myself,
yes, sir.
I'm limited to what I can do. There were 3 important meetings I missed.
No, you're not,
week.
but okay.
Just in this sense,
yes,
because of the way life is. I have to go clock in to 9 to 5 every day, so to speak.
Yep.
And again, these meetings are held during these particular hours, like the 45 expansion that's going on right now. There are going to be a lot of communities and businesses that are affected by this. But I wonder how many people were in these meetings from the community to voice their opinions and their concerns, and which they're being told is...
Well, they do that. They do invite people, but it's not quite, I don't think it's quite what people think it is. It's just kind of like a box check.
Right. Why isn't it blasted over the news? Like, it's one of the most important things going on right now,
That too. So the communication structure is not there. I did see Anjanette's, and I thought she was good on saying that. But look, my personal opinion is progress actually comes with a little bit of productive discourse.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can, if you leave a meeting that's intense, and I'm sure people out there in a relationship that have been married, whatever it is, I can't even decide on dinner without getting to something like, okay, I know, I think this, no, you think that's dinner. Okay, we talk about watching a movie or a TV show, that's compounded, right? But that's what makes a relationship works. Love you, babe. But that's what makes it work, right? You're a married man.
Yeah.
So just another test for y'all, because I hope to teach and also explain as we go through. Like, my best asset is a good coach, a good teacher, a good leader that empowers people. That's what I like to do. So one of the tests is go to the next community meeting, and if you leave there and you don't have one if you don't stay a little bit extra longer because you were fighting a little, not fighting, but conflict, you disagree, disagree on a point, you got to ask yourself how productive that was. Because like I said, you can't even have dinner without that. There's no way you could talk about planning a city without healthy, productive conflict.
But at the end,
I hope to be able to do that.
And to add to that, even as a great coach, leadership, whatever, if you tell someone they're a great running back, one day you're eventually going to have to give them the ball.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're disagreeing on dinner and finally y'all come to an agreement, someone's gonna have to fit the bill.
Wow.
Or y'all may have to split it up, whatever. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the talk is great, the encouragement is great, but you also have to put that person in a position to, or people in position to run with it.
So let me tell you this. I've enjoyed getting to know you. Let me just say that. I encourage you in that way. And I think I've asked that like how can I encourage you in that? Because it takes a little bit of everything, right? Mm-hmm. But I have enjoyed getting to know you, and I like building this relationship because I hope that people like yourself would work with someone like me and actually, like, maybe we go do stuff together and we figure out how to make stuff better.
Right.
Because that's the way I think about it.
I'm all for that. Yeah. That's the type of leadership. That's the type of leader I am. Like, I'm gonna be right in the trenches with you.
We have to, right?
Hey, I've had several opportunities, and you see. Anytime I have an opportunity, I bring another person with me for the experience. First.
You've done that. I've seen you do that with your new friend.
I let him speak. Same. Same way you stepped out when we were on the show, and hey, I'm gonna step out and just let these guys speak. So I get it. I can relate to you in that manner. So just going off of that, like you say, the fruits, I see it. But one day I want to see an actual apple that I can bite and eat.
Well, we're gonna have to work on it together,
right?
Because
we're gonna have to plant the seed.
By the way, politics is just one aspect of like having a robust community. Like just one.
That's one. That's what the Mangrove Community is about. We got 5 branches, and the political branch is just one of them.
Let's make that part let's make that the weakest branch, because the people's power is so strong.
Exactly, and I agree. Because the representatives should be doing exactly what the community wants them to do. So they shouldn't hold.
They shouldn't hold that much power.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree, man. Hey, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have anything coming up? Any events? Where can we catch you?
You got to look on the website. It's Michael 4 Congress, Michael number 4 Congress.com. I'd love to talk to you. I hope that I can be your representative, but I also just hope that we can work together and we can find ways to work together and have conversation. Mm-hmm. I'd love to come back. My wife, Andrea, and I have really enjoyed the process of getting to know everybody in the community. So if you invite us, we've been coming to stuff. And, we're just kind of like regular people that just want to know what's going on in the community. We've gotten engaged in, a few community programs. Shade Temper Savages.
Hold on.
Yes.
I can't let you go without this.
Well, we get
we talked about this.
Yep.
How did you go? No. This is something I wanted to ask, and I can't let you go without asking. We talked about this.
Yes.
You identified as a Republican.
Yes, sir.
And now you're running as a Democrat.
Yep.
How did that shift happen?
Oh man, that was like one of the best shifts. Okay, so we all have I grew up Republican. I grew up in one of the most conservative counties, which is Montgomery County, in the state, if I'm not mistaken, in the country, if I'm not mistaken. This is just like, from here, you could throw a rock and you're in Montgomery County.
Right.
Okay, so what I've learned in the process is because, what I love about the way God shows you stuff is he kind of shows you pictures of things, and he takes your past and he takes your present and he molds something new and creative. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, for example, like the Apostle, I don't want to get all preachy on this, but...
No, go ahead.
Okay. It's a good analogy. Okay, the Apostle Paul, he grew up in a Jewish household, and then he becomes a Christian, and he takes what he's learned from the Judaism and it's helped his ministry.
It saved him at the end when he went for the Romans.
Yeah, so okay, and so my point is, like, I know how a Republican thinks. I know what Republican conservative values are, but I got to this point about last year, maybe a little earlier than last year, where I realized that the company was, after the Trump thing, maybe about 7 months after that, and I realized the country was in this weird split. It was like 64 million Hillary, 61 million Trump. Mm-hmm. And I've always been a fan of Abraham Lincoln and that type of mindset where he comes in and he presents this other option, and it's a middle-of-the-road option, not middle as in moderate, but as an other solution, right. Not middle. Okay. So what I learned in the process of
You're going to start a whole nother argument talking about Abraham, though. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, look, everybody does the best with what they've got. But what I learned from the process,
to win the war.
What I learned in the process of this is that there's so many, there's 64 million, 61 million. And what came to my mind is, okay, 64 million Americans wrong?
Right.
I don't buy that.
Mm-hmm.
Other side, 61 million Americans wrong? I don't buy that. And so what I learned in this process, and this is like, maybe this is why God said it's time to go. What I learned in this process is that seeing things from other people's points of view is scary at first. Mm-hmm. But then you learn to trust people, and then you learn to respect people.
Right.
So I told you about that Malcolm Gladwell book that I told you about. Well, one of the later books talks about this. What you sense right now in America when it comes to a lot of issues is that there's a fundamental lack of empathy from the point of, if this is your truth, then that's your truth.
Right.
Whether I see it that way or not, that is. But if you say that that's different than my opinion, you're wrong, then you've now sectioned yourself off.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think what America needs right now is for somebody to say, hey, you have to, if you don't see it from other points of view, we're not getting anywhere because we're at a gridlock right now.
Definitely.
We have to get past that.
We have to, man. And just, I can understand exactly
It's
where you're
unnecessary.
coming from. We had, my wife and I, our neighbor, God bless her heart, Chris, she, white lady.
Yeah.
And the way we became, we're best of friends now.
Yeah.
And the way we became friends is, we would, because of the turmoil and everything that was going on in this world, we would get on political topics, and my wife and I would come from personal places, so things we've experienced, things we've gone through.
Yeah.
She was like, I would never think, why are you guys? And I'm like, because we fall in that same category as being black. So we, even though we may not talk like it, look like it, or anything like that, we're still considered black by this other side.
Right.
So we still face the same issues, the same trials, the same tribulations. She's like, oh my God, I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
I was like, believe it.
Yeah. Yep.
And she finally was able to
that.
put herself in our shoes and like, if it can happen to you, it can happen to anybody.
That's correct.
And it got to a point where she ended up getting laid off from her job.
Yeah.
And she felt like it was because she was older now.
Right.
And I say, so now you can finally understand.
Yeah.
You've been put in this group now.
Yeah.
And now they feel like you're no longer, they have no use for you.
Yeah.
And we began to be able to relate on that level. And I'm like, see, that's the problem with this country as a whole. You put in all these years of work, and because you hit a certain age, and they're trying to hit a certain number now, and they can get rid of you and bring in somebody that's going to work for half the amount, you're no longer valuable to them.
Right.
But what about all the years you put in?
Yeah. So I think that if you have leadership that starts with this, because you're never going to be in like, you don't want to wait too. What I've learned is at 37, you don't want to wait until you experience the exact same things, because how many experiences is that?
Right.
A million?
We are going to be in slavery.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to listen to what people say and take what they're saying seriously. What you have right now in our country, I feel like, and I think it's just growing, is that if you don't ever cross the line into I'm hearing what you have to say and I'm taking it seriously. You know, Paul said this in Galatians. Oh God, I keep going. But Paul said this in Galatians. He goes, "Hey, when I came to Galatia, I took on your customs and I took on your traditions, and it didn't hurt me at all." Now, here's a guy who is Christian, right? Conservatives right now have a big problem with this. They're like, "Oh no, we can't touch anything that's." And it's like, okay, if Paul can do it, you can do it. Okay, so Paul would come in, he would take on some of these customs, and he would see these things. Now, he didn't do things that jeopardized his faith, but he did things that might be questionable in the eyes of a Jew or in the eyes of a Christian.
Because it's just tradition.
It's a tradition. And so you come in and you say, okay, you didn't hurt me at all. I actually learned from you. Now I'm asking that you take what I'm saying seriously. And so if you don't sit down with people that are the opposite view of you, and as soon as you do that, as soon as that light bulb clicks in your head, you're not a Republican and you're not a Democrat.
You're just a person.
You're just a person. And you realize, what difference does it make? You can play this game of Republican, Democrat. I'm playing the game where I listen to people and I try to get stuff done.
Yep.
You can play that game, and they're going to keep playing it. But anybody who hears that, you know what eventually comes to mind? They go, yeah, that's right. Because that's human. This whole Republican, Democrat thing, this is all... If it's so true, why hasn't it been going on for 10,000 years? It's been going on for like 40.
And I believe you because
Give me a break. It's garbage.
I go and I follow up with people who have been on the show. And I do it publicly sometimes on social media. And I call them out.
Yeah.
Man, to this day, I still haven't had anybody, not only the person not get back to me, but their followers who I've seen completely destroy another person who says something negative against them. But if you're coming from a place of truth, truth is truth.
Truth is always
no
truth.
matter what setting you're in.
So that's why I did it like that, and that's why you see on my website Republican running as a Democrat, because it was another point, and people think it's like some sort of scheme or something. The truth is, I'm not going to get connected from the beginning. So that way a Republican can't ever say, hey, you were a Republican. No, I told you what I was doing. You don't like it, but that's okay. And I think the District 18 is a district that the people's voice can be loud enough, because there is such low voter turnout, that if they get loud enough and they say, hey, this seems like a much more realistic option for us, then that would be something. And we don't ever have to be tied to Republican or Democrat. We get tied to solutions.
Exactly. And that's
from day one.
That's what we need to be looking for, solutions, man.
Okay.
Hey, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Carl.
Again, this is Michael Allen. Hey, check him out.
Thank you very much.
He's been making the circuit. He's getting his voice out there, but he's encouraging you to make your voice heard, which that's all we have. And we can do that by voting at the polls. Early voting starts February 18th through February 28th, and then March 3rd is going to be the primaries. And then we still got a lot of, headway to make, because in November comes the general elections for the local level, the state level, and the national level. So we have to do our homework. There's still time, and we're going to continue to do our homework, and it's up to us to get the right person in office to represent us.
Can I pitch myself? Because I don't think we've been talking.
Go ahead.
Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for including me in this process, Carl, Trey, the Mangrove Community. I hope to learn a lot more. I want to be your representative because I really want to know what it is that you want to see get done, and I want to work with you to get that done. I need your vote March 3rd to be able to win in the primaries or to force a runoff, and then we hope to win in the general. I'm a person that cares about the things that we all care about, and my wife and I both want to see those things happen. So we hope that you take us up on inviting us to your house or your club or whatever it is to have that discourse. I'll talk to you on the phone, whatever it is. But we want to be the people that represent you, and we hope to win March 3rd. So thank you so much. We need your help.
All right. Hey,
Let's do it.
Thank you guys so much. Be blessed.